State multiculturalism, which has been forced upon many Western nations, but especially the UK, has been based upon a lie. Any detractors who warned of this in the first place, that having this policy would lead to atomised groups that basically agitate for their own interests, was called an evil racist bigot who's not welcome in modern Britain. In the rare instance where the mainstream media will talk about problems between different communities, the solution will always be that the host culture just isn't inclusive enough. They need to be more tolerant, more empathetic, more accepting. On top of that, they'll lie about you and call you a racist for good measure. However, I wonder what they think of this from the local elections in Bradford.
We will not be silent. We will raise the voice of Gaza. We will raise the voice of Palestine. Allahu Akbar.
I'm going to tell you something here. This is a clear message to Starmer. Bradford has rejected Labour. It's rejected Zionism. And this is a message to you, Nasha and Imran Hussein. We are coming for you in the general election. Zionism, anyone that stands with Zionism, we're coming after you. Free Palestine!
Free Palestine!
It's now completely undeniable that we have ethnic bloc voting on international issues in the favour of Muslim people. This is quite clearly just the beginnings of a nationwide political movement which agitates for Islamic interests that will probably spread across Europe as well, given the influx of Muslims into France and Sweden and Belgium and so forth. Of course, the mainstream will call you mad and evil for even predicting this. Then when it starts to happen, they'll say it's happening, but it's a good thing, as they normally do. And then they'll just tell you to do what they say and use the force of the state on you if you dare disagree. And on the back of this, there has been a change in tone on how many prominent Muslims are speaking about politics in the UK. Here we have a Bushra Shake. She's a Pakistani origin lady who is often on the mainstream TV complaining about how awful modern Britain is. She states if you don't like Muslims in Britain, then you can always leave. This is obviously a portent for the future, but I don't think she's thought this up herself. I think she got this from Muslim thought leader Mohammed Hijab, who recently stated this. Yada yada yada, practically speaking, you can solve your problem by going to other towns and cities with less Muslims. If you can't tolerate us, you know where the door is. And yes, that's the same Mohammed Hijab who defends child marriage. But anyway, on this channel, I've mentioned before how we're likely to find ourselves in a situation of balkanisation, that's mini city-states developing within the future UK. Some people don't like that. They feel that I'm giving up hope for Britain. However, I think quite the opposite. I think it's actually finding hope for a future. Yet if we're honest, it really is the liberal progressives that are responsible for this situation. You can't really blame the Muslims for coming over here and wanting to maintain their Islamic worldview. That's what they do. They're Muslims. Yet Tony Blair and his ilk have left the modern UK and Europe in quite a bind. We've got falling birth rates, a destroyed culture, and atomised groups agitating for very different interests. However, I do believe not all is lost here. There is an opportunity to reawaken something vital in the UK and Europe. And again, for the census, it's not about hating anybody. It's about having your own identity, your own culture, and maintaining that long into the future, just as other groups are allowed to do. Anyway, these are just some of my thoughts. Do consider subscribing, and do let me know your thoughts down below.